sitting on my doorstep, the people's passing by. They're coming back from getting wrecked. Everybody's high. Saturday night, what a bitch, laying on the lawn. The morning comes to bring the switch after the buzz is gone.
Hello and welcome to Addictions, the podcast about addictions. I'm your host, David Wagner. On today's show, crime and punishment. Should addicts be punished or treated? I know to many of you this question seems like a no-brainer. Drug addicts should be treated, not punished. It is unfortunate, though, that much of society, in the United States at least, still views drug addicts as criminals who have broken the law and thus should be put behind bars. Very few drug addicts who go to jail or prison come out sober. I mean, don't get me wrong, some do, you're kind of forced to, but they go right back to using when they get out. And statistics show that most drug addicts who enter the justice system in the United States come out the other end still addicted to drugs. They go right to using as soon as they get out. In fact, of the more than 2.3 million people in American prisons and jails, 65% of them meet the medical criteria for substance abuse addiction. The simple fact, which should be incredibly clear by looking at the fucking mountains of data and evidence, is that treatment works. It may not work 100% of the time, but look, we have been punishing drug abusers and addicts for over 40 years now, and that has so far only proved to make the situation worse. These people have lives. Some of them are mothers, some of them fathers, some of them students, kids even, really. And in many situations, imprisoning these people for nonviolent drug crimes only serves to ruin lives and tear families apart. Just another casualty of the failed and still failing war on drugs. If we know what to do, why are we not doing it? Unfortunately, the answer to that question is not clear-cut. Part of the reason, I think, is a failure to understand how addiction works. Many people still think that prison or jail time will scare addicts straight. You know, the worse their experience in jail or prison, the less likely that person is going to be to use drugs when they get out, and risk going back to jail, right? Well, it's not that simple. Addiction is a chronic brain illness or disease, whatever you want to call it, and it requires long-term care. Addiction changes the brain, often turning addicts, including loved ones, into people we do not understand, trust, or like. And while it may be tempting for some to think that punishment is the answer, prison does not teach addicts to change their thinking and behavior. And it sure as hell does not help repair damaged neurological pathways. And it definitely does not stop drug cravings. In most cases, jail time just buys a little bit of time before an addict relapses and reoffends, perpetuating the cycle and hurting themselves along with the rest of us. I know this all sounds like a real big downer, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is shitty to look at it this way, but the rise of the opioid epidemic has brought much needed attention to the addiction crisis in the United States. Again, it just really sucks that it had to get this far and this bad before it really gets addressed. But yes, one state in particular, and one city, Gloucester, Massachusetts, in 2015, the Gloucester Police Department enlisted a new cutting-edge policy. Any addict that goes to the police station with the remainder of their drugs and or paraphernalia and asks for help will not be charged with a crime. Instead, they will be walked through the system toward detox and recovery. This program has been so successful that several other cities around the United States are taking similar approaches. As I stated earlier, it is now more clear than ever that incarceration alone is totally ineffective. We have mountains of statistics that remind us of this on a daily basis. The amount of deaths from drug overdose continues to rise to never-before-seen levels. And again, it's not all doom and gloom. The more aware society becomes of the problem, the better prepared we will be to solve the problem. As always, I want to thank everyone for listening. Be sure and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcasting app. And if you are listening on iTunes, be sure and take the time to rate and review the show. I still have a ton of Addictions Podcast stickers for anybody who leaves us a review on iTunes. As always, you can find the Addictions Podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/addictionspodcast. You can listen to every episode of the show at addictionspodcast.wordpress.com/episodes. Again, that's addictionspodcast.wordpress.com/episodes. And if you really love the show and want to help support what we do, visit www.patreon.com/addictions. Again, that's patreon.com/addictions. And as always, never quit quitting.
Sunday's your great Uncle John. You poisoned yourself last night. Mary slapped your friend Tom. You got in a hell of a fight. Monday comes and it's back to work. The week seems so damn long.